Hello folks, and welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. And we go into work again on the tower room. You might remember from earlier last year that we fixed the ceiling, we rebuilt the complete ceiling, and we fixed the floor. So now it's time to replace the window frames. And as you can see, these old window frames are not in a very good shape. I even have to patch it up in between with some plastic foil just to keep the rain out. But now we're going to replace this, and these are huge window frames, single glazed, so I have to be very careful when I take this apart because this glass breaks like crazy. So in this video we're going to take the windows out piece by piece. I'm going to remove the glass, I'm going to cut the wood into pieces and remove it part by part, because that's about the only way I'm going to be able to do this. It is very high up from the outside. It's around 12 meters, the bottom side of the window. So there's no chance I can do anything from the outside, and still I would have a lift or something like that, but I don't have that. So I'm going to take this out piece by piece, as I said, on my own, and then I'm going to put the new frames up. Now the new frames, I have them downstairs. Those need to be sanded, they need to be painted with base paint, so the outside will be painted white. And then, of course, there's some more work here on the lower part of the window, and let me show you that. The bottom part is what we call the tablet, and that's where the window frame typically sits on. Now, I'm going to install a bluestone tablet here, but not right now. I'm going to do this after the window is installed, and I will use some wooden spacers initially to have the window frame resting on so I can position it properly. It probably is going to be a bit messy. I have probably to knock off a lot of chalk on the side still, and that's dirty stuff, but okay, it is what it is, and that's what we have to do. So this might become a pretty dirty video. So, and I mean that pretty dirty in the good sense, guys. Don't get me wrong, okay? Right, so let's get on and start preparing the frames downstairs, the new frames. We're going to paint those first in base paint so it can dry, and then meanwhile we'll take out these window frames here. All right, let's go. I have two window frames like this. I already have one outside that I started to sand. Now this one I still have to clean up, and you can see it's been sitting here for quite a couple of years. You know, look at all these spider webs and dust webs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the wings off, because I don't need the wings to drag them upstairs. It's going to be easier if I take all that off, and I'm going to unlock or unscrew the wings, and I will treat them separately. So let me do that first. This is a full oak window frame that I've built a couple of years ago, probably about 5 years ago. It's been sitting in the barn ever since. So there was a lot of dust on it. I already blew it off as much as I could, and now we're going to sand it. And I have it already pre-sanded, but I'm going to finish it off with a grit 150. Some people will use a smaller or finer grit, but I'm happy with a 150 because I'm going to put a base coat paint on this. And the harder the wood, the more corrosive the grit can be. If you have real soft wood, then you have to have a much finer grit for sanding it down. So that's what we're going to do, and once we have it sanded down, I'm going to flip it over to the other side, sand it down there as well. And then I'm only going to paint the outside part with a base coat. I'm not going to paint the other side yet, because that has to be staying plain oak with some oil on it. But the outside has to be painted, and I still have to lift it upstairs in the tower, which is a lot of lifting. So getting the window frames into the tower room, guys, that's going to be a little bit tricky, because it has to go all the way up there where you see that bright spot. That's where it needs to go. And I don't have a lot of room, and I'm on my own, so I will have to use a pulley system to pull them up from the ground floor, open up a gap here in the ceiling, the floor or ceiling, whatever you want to call it, here where I'm standing on. And these are still loose panels anyway, so I can shift that around and then pull it up, and then I can actually drag it into that room all the way up there. And once I have it there, I'm good. So I'm still going to scratch it, I know that. So the final base paint for the outside, I will put it on as soon as I have it on the tower room. So let's start to sand a bit. The oak went through the planer before, and there is not a lot of real sanding to be done on it, but still, I still want to make it smooth enough so the base paint will fit properly. I could go for 220, but I'm not going to use a 220. That's too fine for oak. The harder the wood, the more corrosive the grit can be. A 150 seems to be about right to me. So I'm going to use a 150 grit, and that should be just good enough to sand this whole surface. And you might see that it's already fairly clean because I have worked on it already a little bit. So I have finished sanding the outside surface, so now I need to flip it over to the other side, and these guys are heavy, believe me. So let's do that. There we go. Now I'm going to blow it clean, and then we're going to sand it on this side. I have sanded the window frame now on both sides, and I just want to show you on how all these things fit together. So this is going to be the inside, and the inside, as I said before, will stay clean oak. These are the wings, and as you've noticed, there's no glazing in it yet. So let me put that wing in so you have a bit of a better view on how all this will fit together. So that's one wing. It has hinges on the side here. And now the glazing will go in here, and you can see this is a bit deeper now. And once the glazing is in, which is double glazing, I'm going to put another small wood, and that's what we call small wood, by the way, on top of it. So it covers up the small wood on the outside, and the glazing is going to be in between. So you can imagine this has been quite a bit of work to create this frame in oak. Everything is real solid oak, glued and nailed together. So that was a bit of work. Now painting all this will also be a bit of work. So I'm not going to show you all the little details on how I paint every little piece, because that would take way too long. The frame is now ready to be painted, and I'm going to apply a base coat onto this paint. And I'm going to stir it. Before I apply it, I added some solvent to it, so it's a bit thinner. Now I know, guys, I shouldn't be painting in the full sun. That is not a good idea. You should never do that. But base paint, it doesn't matter too much. So let's start to paint this a bit. Now I can use a roller, but I'm going to use a thick brush because I like brushes better. It rubs in better. I'm probably going to give it like 2 coats. See, this goes very smoothly. I could have done it in the spray booth. So the first coat of base paint is now dried up and ready to receive the second coat. Now the first coat I painted with a paintbrush because I like to rub it into the wood. It's better than with a roller. Now the second coat, that's fine. I'm going to use a roller because it's faster. The old container which was filled up is gone, and now I have a brand new container all empty to be filled up with debris from the tower, and we're going to start with the window frames that we're going to remove right now. I might look a bit weird with my hat on and then the protection, but I want to make sure that I don't get any glass into my ears or my head, so I want to be careful with this. It's better to be safe than sorry. So. that's the bottom of the old window, and this used to be oak. There isn't much left over of it, is there, after about 100 years. This was installed in 1920. So I guess all by all, it is not too bad considering that it was very badly maintained. But as you can see, the humidity and the rain that we have here has actually eaten away the whole strength of this frame. So now I'm going to start cutting all that out. So folks, this is the end of day one. I'm going to get a shower and a nice dinner. We have done today quite a bit of work. We have sanded down the new window frames. We have painted it with 2 coats of base coat of paint. And then we took out the old window frame here, and that was a lot of work, more than I expected. And with old houses, you always have surprises. One of the surprises I have right now is the wall right here, and you can see the wall, how badly the joints are. So I have first of all to fix this wall, grind out all the joints and then point them again with some cement and chalk, and that will look a lot better, and then we'll put the window in tomorrow. So enjoy your evening just as much as I will, and I'll see you back tomorrow on day number 2.